ownership choice, they'll be required to flip it to an owner occupant. The next one is 219 Barrington Road. It's in a great location, but it is in really rough shape. It's got a lot of water damage throughout the building. We have two applicants here. One who has purchased from us before. They would be flipping it to an owner occupant, Sinai Realty Holdings. And then the other applicant, that's two individuals, the uncle has renovation experience and the financial backing, and his nephew would be occupying this as his primary residence. And while they are not the highest bidder, we're recommending sale to them. The other buyer is, like I said, they bought from us before and they meet the requirements, but just barely. And we figure because this person is actually going to live there, we prefer that option. 120 Fitch Street, you may have seen on your agenda before. Our last buyer backed out. It's a side-by-side duplex that we put some ARPA stabilization money into. So it has a new roof and windows and a rebuilt porch. They would renovate to live there themselves. 261 West Ostrander is a non-buildable vacant lot. The owner occupant next door would like to buy it. You can see in that little diagram that they are the only logical buyer. The three parcels to the left are actually in a different zoning district, so we wouldn't be able to split it up to them. Not to mention, we've done that before where we've split a parcel like 4 different ways, and it's a nightmare. 133 West Pleasant is a non-buildable vacant lot that we have been leasing to Green Gate Inc. Under our community garden lease. They are adamant that they want to install a water spigot on site, and we just don't allow that on our gardens. I'm concerned about the liability if it were to be vandalized or if the pipes were to burst, we would be on the hook for all that usage. And so the only solution I can think of to enable him to install this water spigot would be to sell him the lot. We generally don't do that with our community gardens, but we discussed this with the Citizens Advisory Board, and their recommendation was if you really narrow the parameters to say, you know, we're doing this for a not-for-profit organization with a restrictive covenant saying if it's not to be used for community garden purposes in the future, it would revert to the land bank. It would give us some level of protections as opposed to just quit claiming it to them and wishing them the best.
Has the water department been engaged at all to find out how much it's going to cost, where they're going to get the money to install the water?
He claims that he has the financing in place, and he has been discussing this with the deputy mayor.
He is also a candidate for office, I believe.
He is running for common council at large.
Right. And he seems to be very enthusiastic about this urban garden. Is it as a provision in this agreement? Is it like responsibility, obviously, for maintenance and all that? Because a lot of times.
Well, in our lease agreement, when we lease lots for community gardens, that is all spelled out.
So
but
like,
if we were to sell this to him, it's just then the law that it's his responsibility to maintain it.
yeah, and he'd end up getting any kind of violations and all that.
Correct.
Hi, Ocean.
So this is us selling it, so I'm pretty much saying. So what is the condition in which it comes back? Or,
If it's not being used for a community garden.
okay,
So he wouldn't necessarily be able to sell it to somebody to build a house on, or, yeah.
thank you.
I mean, you would have a hard time doing that anyway because it's only 38 feet wide.
Just hypothetical.
Yeah.
So just to remind, one of the reasons we use enforcement mortgages is that I'm not a fan of reverters legally. They do issues.
I share John's concern about like how this would work if it needs to come back to us, because
Yeah.
it just feels like an open-ended, create something at some point, sits vacant and doesn't get kept. So if it's across from school, it becomes an issue in your school, like
Right.
we need to make sure that there's enough in here that there's some feet to the fire.
You're
So
likely
we
gonna
would
have
talk
to
about
vote.
maintenance too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not, I don't think you're avoiding a foreclosure. If that day comes, you're gonna have to bring a proceeding of some kind to get it back.
And
To
to
get
Jonathan's,
clean title.
and to Jonathan's point, the water department's pretty busy these days. It's going to be able to handle all that either.
But once you sign the deed and it's theirs, there's gonna be a process to get it back, is my point.
Which is gonna cost the land bank in the end.
What do you think, board?
Vice Chair. I've spoken with him about this and he is adamant, and I know about the work he does with the school, like I know from that lens. So, for lack of a better term, he does have good faith with me. And I don't think we'd have to get it back, so I'm not as worried about that, procedural side. But just in case, I do think we should make the language so that, we do have the ability to. 'Cause you never know.
I like the guy. I like him because he's devoted to the community. He seems to really be into this.
Yeah.
But give him a shot.
Very specific passion.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to this. I just want to make sure that it's done in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our,
Their expectations are set.
as I tried to explain to him, we've kind of developed a standard operating procedure with these gardens for a reason, because it
Yes.
works.
Yes.
But he wants to do things differently.
But then this would open us up to anybody else who wants to do things differently, correct?
Well, so that was what the Citizens Advisory Board suggested when we looked at this, that to make it as narrow as possible, that we're selling this to a not-for-profit organization with this reverter clause or enforcement mortgage.
And this is a pilot. We'll see how this works.
Well,
I guess I wouldn't call it a pilot.
Yeah.
Right.
Then people really gonna want to show it.
I don't want to encourage.
Just see how it goes.
Right.
This is an exception to the rule due to extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, that's how I.
Work the schools.
Put that in
Yeah.
the motion. It's extraordinary circumstance.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that it?
Appreciate your open-mindedness. That's it for sales.
Okay. So I'll ask for a motion to accept the sales.
So moved.
Jonathan, second.
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Next in your packet, you probably saw some images from Habitat for Humanity. They
Yes.
would like to buy 7 lots from us to build new single-family homes. They're applying for the state's block-by-block program, which comes with like up to $300,000 of subsidy per house. They're working with the Habitat group in Buffalo that has either they own it or they have close connections to a modular home manufacturing facility. One of my concerns with Habitat was that they haven't built a large number of homes in any given year lately. So I was worried about how fast they could put up 7, but knowing that they are modular and they're planning on steering their volunteers towards just 1 or 2 sites so that they have that engagement, but most of them are just going to go up quickly with professional crews. So I'm confident about the speed that they can get them installed. I have some misgivings about the design. What they have presented to us is very plain and very skinny. And some of these lots, as you'll see in the packet, are pretty wide, 68 feet wide, 60 feet wide, 66, 75. We put these together anticipating that Housing Visions would put 2-family homes on these lots. They're too big to split in half and fit 2 houses, or I'm sorry, they're too small to fit 2 houses, but they're awful big. So they have proposed that they are going to work on a second design, one for the wide lots and one for the narrow lots. Their new executive director over there at Habitat is an architect, and she's very sensitive to this idea that we need to respond to the surrounding context when we're putting a design together. So my request to you in your agenda packet is that you would authorize us to sell these 7 lots to Habitat, contingent upon them bringing us that wider design to be approved by staff so that we have those 2 for the various types of lots. The narrow design is still very plain.
Need to do something about that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was recently looking at, the city of Rochester is doing some infill, and they have what appear to be designs that are a little bit more in keeping with the surrounding context and, not just like a sort of baseline design, something with a little bit more sensitivity to it. And I think that we should encourage them to look at what Rochester is doing or other communities that are doing something that's not just a sort of very plain Jane, like get it done type of approach.
We could also refer them to that Syracuse pattern book. You've seen
Sure,
that document, that some architects put together probably over 10 years ago at this point about fitting into the neighborhood context.
Yeah.
Give some Syracuse specific examples that you can pull from.
Agreed. Yeah, it needs to do more than
Yeah,
traditionally gotten.
it's pretty shockingly plain.
Yeah.
There is a photograph in here of the one that was built in Buffalo,
Yeah, I like that.
which,
Is also plain.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's right in with the rendering.
Postage
Yeah.
stamps. House.
And they designed this to fit on 33-foot lots.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the size of the house or anything like
Okay.
that. I think that it's how it's trimmed out, like
Mhm.
it's kind of looks very basic.
So we can certainly put something in the contract about, with both designs to be refined and approved by staff. Would you want to be part of that conversation to review them? Okay. Any other concerns about this aside from the design?
The only other thing that I was wondering about is that 208 is an MX2 district.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the rezone map, there are like 2 or 3 parcels just right on a corner that are an MX2. Do we have any concern? Like, I'm assuming that it's okay to put it in there because MX, looking at you, come on, MX allows for single family, right?
Mhm.
So that's just lines on a map.
Yeah.
It's nice to work with.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to sound too critical of the design because you've seen what they used to build on the near west side, but like sideways ranch houses. So these fit into the surrounding context way better than those earlier
I
iterations.
just agree with that. We're still starting pretty low.
Yeah. This doesn't look like a dentist office, so we're starting out in a good spot. All right, does anybody want to make a motion on this?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Next up is to sell multiple properties to an entity jointly owned by BLD Properties LLC and Jubilee Homes. A few months ago, you guys voted to extend the deadline for Trinity Financial to purchase these lots on the 600 block of South Ave, right across from the Price Right. This is the same plan for the mixed-use building with about 55 apartments upstairs. They are working to push as hard as they can with HCR to have as broad a range of income levels as possible. I think, I got to meet with Kenan, the owner of this BLD Properties last week, and he had some kind of out-of-the-box ideas to suggest to HCR on that front. Because the issue that they run into when they do their market study is that market rate rents actually come in lower than the 80% AMI rents, and so HCR doesn't want to subsidize those 80% units. But his thinking was, if we could get a few of those certified as 80% units, rent them now to people that are at, say, 60% of AMI at a lower price, knowing that in the future we have room to grow as if market values improve in the neighborhood. So I'm hoping that he'll be able to convince HCR to do that. And I know that that's something the city is really lobbying for as well, to have more truly mixed income projects, as opposed to how LIHTC is typically not.
So is this the same outfit that made that presentation to us during, I think it was during COVID, actually?
Same developer.
Yeah.
He had worked for Trinity for over 20 years, and he's just now striking out on his own to start his own business. Trinity is financially backing his business, so he has the financial resources to do the pre-development work that needs to be done, but this would not be under Trinity's umbrella.
Any more? Okay. Any other questions? I'll ask for a motion to approve the authorized sale of multiple properties to BD Properties and Jubilee Homes.
So moved.
Mo, second. Second, Jonathan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Contract for multiple demolitions.
We got some real doozies in January, as you can see. So we put these 5 properties out to bid. 425 Lafayette is actively collapsing. Same with 127-29 Cannon. 153 Fitch Street is a burnt out property that we actually went out and purchased because it's surrounded by land bank owned properties. It helps us to assemble a pretty large chunk on Fitch Street. You can see there in the diagram.
That Fitch Street, and I don't, come on, we have plans for Fitch Street. I mean, that is just empty, more or less. It's become sort of a dumping ground. I got Andy over there all the time and stuff.
So we're working on assembly now. We have some pretty large stretches of land on Fitch Street, and we're trying to put together more.
Okay.
So our AHOP application we're working on right now with Jubilee is going to be for the blocks a little bit north of that, and we're envisioning Fitch Street as kind of phase 2.
Okay.
239 Valley Drive, also actively collapsing. That's a 6-unit apartment building.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Legit.
And 1926 Caleb is not an immediate health and safety emergency, but all 4 foundation walls are blown out. But we think it would be a great building site.
Okay. Any questions?
The only question that I had is further down, we're voting to reshuffle some of the previous demolitions to other contractors. Are any of these contractors going to go rewarding these two? We're going to run into an issue where we're moving things around.
No. So Elite is not in this
Is that
table.
who it was?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Elite that we're taking stuff away
All
from.
right. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. But it's a good question.
Great question. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to push forward these demolitions.
So
Jonathan? Second, Oceana. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next.
Oh,
oh, wait, that was all one. that was
Sorry.
all part of one.
that's okay. You can have a second vote on this other thing. So we want to reallocate or reassign some demos. We had previously awarded
Oh,
to
okay.
Elite, and you'll see in that next table there that we want to go to the next lowest bidder. So the ones in red would be who we would be awarding these to today. Elite was just not able to provide the insurance coverage that we were asking for.
107 Milton, yes.
I've never had this problem before. It should have been done in 24 hours.
107 Milton has some inhabitants.
I don't think so.
Oh, yes, they are. But I mean, they're like raccoons and stuff.
Oh,
like
okay.
that.
No
Yeah,
people.
yeah, no
Okay.
people. They got some.
That makes me feel better.
We're going to have to send, I think, some animal control folks up there.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. Any other questions on this? So we'll take another vote on this. Okay, I'll ask for a motion.
So
Oceana, second. Jonathan, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Okay, sorry about that.
okay, now where do we go here?
Now on item E, spray foam insulation at 433 Warner Ave. We've been in the process of renovating this. We've done all the exterior work. It's a nice little house, and we're trying to finish the attic to make it a little bit bigger. It's only about 1,000 square feet just on the first floor. So this will be nice to have a nice big bedroom up there with an ensuite bathroom. But we need to do this spray foam insulation in order to try to get close to what the code requires. Do you have any questions on that?
Mm-mm.
Other than how cold it is today, I'm glad you're doing this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, no questions. I'll ask for a motion to accept the contract for spray foam installation at 433 Warner Ave.
So moved.
So,
Second.
John, okay. Mo, Jonathan, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we got stabilization.
We recently put these properties out to bid, and the low bidder on all of them was Bellavia Construction. We have not used him before, but his brother owns Onondaga Builders, and we've used him for many, many years. Bellavia does a lot of work for home headquarters. We've seen their work. They do good quality work.
Good.
None of these bidders are state certified MWBEs, but Bellavia has gone through and figured out how they can sub out the appropriate percentages to meet those goals.
What's the work that we're doing? Other than stabilization.
Oh, that is an excellent question. So 115 Beard Place is, sorry, I don't know why I didn't put that in here. 115 Beard Place is going to get a roof, exterior siding, new windows and doors, and rebuild the back porch. 233 Genesee Park Drive has decent siding already, so we're going to do the roof and windows and rebuild the front porch. 678 West Onondaga Street. We replaced the front portion of the roof years ago, but the back portion of the building is a flat roof, so we'll be replacing that. And 244 Higher, we previously did the roof and did a bunch of structural repair work. We would be adding to that and now doing siding and windows and gutting the interior of the building. 149 Phage is actually one that we sold to an owner occupant a long time ago, and she's just been struggling to finish it. Doesn't really have the financial wherewithal to finish it, although the interior is fine and habitable. What we would be doing here is a roof, siding, and windows, and rebuilding the front porch.
So how does that work? Should I not ask that question, John? No. How does that
I
work?
mean, we're,
HCR is okay with it.
yeah,
Okay, great.
they expect us to do X number of stabilizations. Some of them we don't know anymore.
They specifically addressed that issue.
Yeah.
And said it's okay.
So all these properties are occupied?
No, Phage is the only one that's occupied.
Okay.
Beard has also been sold. The gentleman is also struggling to finish, but he's not living there yet.
Okay.
But he will be. That'll be his primary residence. Genesee is empty. We will be putting it on the market in homeownership choice. 678 West Onondaga is currently on the market, and we're struggling to find a buyer, and that's why we're doing the roof. 244 Higher has been on the market for a long time. Homeownership choice, we're having a hard time, so we're doing a little more work.
Is that the one that has a vacant lot next to it? It's like owned by somebody else.
It does, yeah. We need to see if we can get our hands on that.
Just asked, if we tried that yet.
Sent a letter and didn't get any response, so we'll try to see if we can get a phone number for them. Phage is currently owner occupied, and 757 has been on the market for quite a while. And same thing, it just needs so much work that it's scaring people off. So I figure if we can do some of that work.
So what are we doing there? Because that's a.
So the plan there is a previous owner had done a new roof, but it needs to have a bunch of the flashing repaired, so we'll be doing that. It's brick on the first floor and like aluminum siding on the second floor. We'll be replacing that siding. And then I don't know if you can envision the porch, but like half of it was enclosed at one time. So our plan is to open that back up. Obviously, we'll have to build a wall where there isn't one anymore, and recreate the porch like it was supposed to be, symmetrical. I have to get the SHPO to approve of that.
Oh, that one's in a district or something?
National Register District.
Any other questions on the stabilization? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to accept the same contract for stabilization of multiple properties. So, Jonathan,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And then the last item is to accept multiple properties from the city of Syracuse. It's the very last page of your packet here. You'll probably recognize some of these from your district, Pat. And then 1844 Grant, you had mentioned to me, Ramon. I can't remember what the issues were with it. I think it was on Councilor Nave's wish list.
Yeah, they're, oh,
Several more set.
yeah, Cayuga Street. I just got a call on KU 423, Cayuga Street. It's empty. So these are all going to, we're going to accept them and then go. I think you just, in fact, I emailed Camone to put it on the list. And so that's good work here. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
I'll ask for a motion.
So,
Jonathan, second.
Second.
Oceana, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. You did pretty good with just the phone here.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody got the explanation beforehand, but we're having some IT issues, so I was unable to print the agenda packets. I'm sorry about that.
I thought maybe the door was frozen.
Okay, let me ask for a motion to adjourn.
But before we do that,
Oh, before we do that,
Oh, yes.
Did we get any resolution to the interim text thing?
So in January, you recall you guys voted